Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the new and improved, updated 2025 version of the weight class tier list. Now, I did this video maybe 2023 or something, but obviously my opinions have changed. A lot has changed about the sport. Most of the champions that are actually on screen right now have changed as well. So yeah, the sport is just overall in a different place, and I want to kind of go through some of the tier lists that I did a couple of years ago and kind of update them. Just to go through the tiers, we have chicken salad, which is S tier, which will be reserved for one weight class only. I believe that's how you should do it. And then we've got A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier, obviously, as you can see on the screen. We've got all of the weight classes here other than women's featherweight, but I think we can all agree that women's featherweight just doesn't fucking exist, mate, to be honest. So yeah, we're gonna get cracking with women's bantamweight, I guess. Well, really, that should be like there. Oh, that should be there. So we'll actually start with women's strawweight. Women's strawweight used to be one of the saving graces of women's MMA. After the original women's bantamweight division kind of died down and got really bad, and you know the likes of like Rousey and stuff were out the door, strawweight kind of took over in the WMMA scene, in my opinion. Obviously, you had great fights with several of the fighters at strawweight. You know, Joanna. You've got Weili Zhang, of course, as you can see, holding the belt here still to this day. But that kind of leads me into my next point. It's kind of stagnated. I haven't been excited for a women's strawweight fight in a very, very long time, and I don't see it changing that soon, to be honest. There are a couple of okay fighters at strawweight, but women's strawweight, I would put in C tier, and it will probably be at the back end of C tier. Next, we've got women's flyweight. Again, women's flyweight is a bit of a weird one because it kind of had a very small moment, but the history of women's flyweight has basically just been Shevchenko kind of having boring fights and getting a finish here and there. Obviously, everybody enjoys when the flyweight fights are good, but for the most part, like 90%, 95% of the women's flyweight fights, even the title fights, they're just not that entertaining. I guess the Alexa Grasso Shevchenko kind of trilogy is crazy that I'm saying fucking trilogy for these two, but yeah, I'm gonna go D tier. Yeah, I think strawweight's better than women's flyweight. I'm happy with that. Next, we've got women's bantamweight. Now, women's bantamweight, it came in, obviously, it's kind of the marquee original division of women's MMA. And then Holly Holm head kick Rousey, KO'd her. Amanda Nunes came in and beat Ronda Rousey up again. And then Amanda Nunes basically just ran the division. Obviously, you had Nunes and Cyborg. That was actually some pretty entertaining period. That was an entertaining period of time in the women's bantamweight division. I miss that, to be honest. Just thinking about it now, there was actually a couple of okay. There was a couple matchups that were quite compelling and that you were relatively excited about. Women's MMA didn't used to just be this whole piss break spot on a card where you go outside and call your fucking mom or whatever. Like, you would at least somewhat pay attention to these women's fights back then. But they're just kind of shit now. Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes, I guess, is the next fight, and then after that, I don't think there will be a women's super fight in the bantamweight division fucking ever again, unless Rousey comes back. But if Rousey comes back, you know they're trying to get that women's featherweight title. Women's bantamweight, I would put in C tier behind strawweight. No, I wouldn't. I would put it in. I actually think women's bantamweight is the worst women's division. Juliana Penn. I mean, I don't even need to explain myself, to be honest. Women's bantamweight, it has just been in such a bad spot for so many years now. So I'm gonna go with the back of D tier, then flyweight, then strawweight. I get the women's divisions are all at the bottom of the tier. That's just the way it shakes out, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and be the hardcore fan and say, nah, actually, bro. Yeah, Tatiana Suarez's defensive grappling game, and you know Natalia Silva's technique on some of these taekwondo kicks, that if you did it in the men's division, you'd probably get just fucking 29-28 4 fights in a row and get cut. Like, it's it's entertaining for the most part, and I enjoy watching some of the women fighters, but for the most part, yeah, just all three of these divisions just fell off a cliff, man, especially women's bantamweight and women's strawweight. Just boring now. Next we have got men's flyweight. Men's flyweight is actually in a pretty good spot. You have Alexander Pantoja at the head of it all, which he really deserves some more love. He's creeping up on best flyweight of all time for me. Like, I want to make a whole video kind of talking about that, but Alexander Pantoja needs some love and respect thrown his way. He's a very entertaining fighter, a very well-rounded fighter. I have no idea why a lot of the fans just haven't gravitated towards him. I guess it's just the fact he's a flyweight. DJ had the same issue, but you do see that pattern kind of changing a little bit these days with fighters like Joshua Van, Lona Kavanagh, Jose Ochoa, who's fighting in about 3 hours time as I'm recording this. So men's flyweight, I think there's some promising guys there. Obviously, you had the Figgy and Moreno saga. Moreno's still around. You got Brandon Royval. You got Manel Cap. I'm wounded they cut Makayev. I don't really like Makayev as a person, but a great fighter, good, well-rounded fighter. I would have loved to have seen Makayev fight, Pantoja, and bring that sort of Dagestani wrestling style against the Brazilian Pantoja. It always makes for a good fight. So I'm gonna put flyweight in. I'm going to put flyweight in B tier only because I only want to put one weight class in chicken salad for this video. So I think men's flyweight in B tier. We can shuffle things around at the end if I'm not totally agreeing with it. Now, men's bantamweight. Men's bantamweight, for me, for a very long time, my absolute favourite weight class in the entire UFC, hands down. Every single bantamweight champion, from Cruz to Dillashaw to Garbrandt to Merab now, O'Malley, even Aljo, like, I enjoyed every kind of every title fight in bantamweight history I would happily watch. I don't think there's been many stinkers. Obviously you had Jose Aldo in there for a little bit as well, who's now retired. 135, Marcus McGee, Piotr Yan. How did I forget about Piotr Yan when listing off the champions? Just a stellar division, and I miss the prime of it. It is nice having some dominant champions like Islam and like Merab, but when you have that era of invincibility, I mean, it kind of makes the division stale, but it's no fault of Merab's. It's not Merab's fault that he's running through everyone. I guess we'll see how Corey Sandhagen does, but bantamweight is going A tier for me. It was S tier probably 5 years ago, but yeah, bantamweight A tier for now. Next on the list we have featherweight, and it pleases me to see Volt back here. I would have loved to put Topuria here because I don't like that Topuria is not in this lineup, just because I think Topuria is pound for pound one of the best fighters and one of my favourite fighters, has been for a long time. Regardless of the hype around him and the popularity around him right now, I'm not going to let that put me off, man. I'm all aboard the Ilia Topuria hype train. I think he genuinely is one of the best talents in the world. But Volt did get the belt back, even though he's the only guy here to not have the belt on his shoulder in the picture of the UFC. So you guys need to fucking hurry up and update that. That's a blasphemy right there. So you got Volk as the champion. You've got Diego Lopez in there, Yair Rodriguez, Arnold Allen, Movsar Evloev. You've got who else is there? Vinicius Oliveira, I guess. You've got Lerone Murphy. Some decent fighters in there. Men's featherweight, I'm gonna be honest, it's lost a little bit of its its desire has left with Ilia Topuria, in my opinion, just because it felt so elite. You had Max Holloway, Volkanovski, Topuria, Lopez was coming up. I don't class Yair Rodriguez as one of the elite of the fucking division, but I guess I would have to now that Max and Ilia are both gone. Diego Lopez, I think, is a little bit overrated. I have a whole fucking video talking about Diego Lopez. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in B tier, and I'm going to put it in front of flyweight. I think that's an okay spot for it to go. So yeah, flyweight and featherweight are a little bit tied for me, but that is because I really do like Pantoja, and like I said, Joshua Van, Jose Ochoa, Lona Kavanagh, like, In another year, I think Flyweight could be A tier, but just because Pantoja has kind of lapped the division and beat all the top guys so many times, I'm going to put it in B tier behind Featherweight. It's lightweight. Now, this has always been the marquee division kind of the UFC for the past, God knows, like for the past decade, really. I mean, Jens Pulver came here with a red mohawk and the lightweight division was born, and then, you know, 20 years later we have fighters like Islam Makhachev, Khabib Nurmagomedov, just crazy resumes. Lightweight is just one of the top divisions across the sport in any division. I mean, in any organization, any organization, lightweight is one of the top divisions always. A lot of people say it's because it's kind of the average size of a man. I don't know how much value there is to that. It's kind of weird statistic there, but lightweight, Islam Makhachev has actually vacated the belt, so Charles Oliveira and Ilia Topuria are now fighting for the vacant belt, which is just a treat for us all. Of course, you got Dustin Poirier. He is going to retire after his next fight, so I guess we don't have Dustin Poirier. Justin Gaethje is also threatening to retire if he doesn't get a title shot against Topuria or Oliveira. I would love to see Topuria win this belt and then defend against Gaethje, and you know, that would just be a very damaging fight for the pair of them. Gaethje probably gets slept. I don't know how high to be on Topuria these days, man. My whole world's clouded after those Volkan Holloway knockouts. So because of those reasons, because Islam is now gone, and because Poirier is about to retire, Topuria coming into the division does kind of bump it up. If Topuria hadn't moved up, Islam moved up to welterweight and Poirier retired, I'd probably put lightweight at the top of B tier, to be honest. Which may be a bit controversial, but because Topuria has moved up and you've still got Oliveira, you've still got Gaethje, you've still got some good fighters, I'm going to go A tier behind Bantamweight for me. Actually, no. Yeah, in front of Bantamweight, just because Merab has basically beat most of the guys already, and it's nice to have the thought of Topuria being a champ, or even Oliveira going on a second run. I enjoy that more than Merab just dominating everyone. Next, welterweight. So we got Jack Della Maddalena here. Obviously just beat Bilal Muhammad for the belt. Welterweight for me, this may be a controversial one. Welterweight is going S tier, boys. S tier for welterweight, man. Let me explain myself. Welterweight is just popping right now, bro, and Islam has just joined the mix, which it's just S tier for me. I have the rankings right here on my phone. Let me just read you the welterweight rankings right now. Welterweight champion Jack Della Maddalena, rank 1 Bilal Muhammad, rank 2 Sean Brady, rank 3 Shavkat Rakhmonov, rank 4 Leon Edwards, rank 5 Kamaru Usman, rank 6 Ian Gary, rank 7 Joaquin Buckley, rank 8 Michael Morales, rank 9 Colby Covington, fuck off Colby, 10 Gilbert Burns, kind of washed, is going to retire soon, rank 11 Jeff Neal, some good fights left, rank 12 Stephen Thompson, okay, 10, 11, 12 are kind of unk status, but then rank 13 Carlos Prates, rank 14 Kevin Holland, which is whatever, and then rank 15 Michael Page. So just to recap that top 5, it's Jack Della Maddalena, Bilal, Sean Brady, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman, Ian Gary, Joaquin Buckley, Michael Morales. That was way more than 5, but you get my point. There's some good matchups coming up with welterweight, man, and Jack Della Maddalena is just one of my favourite fighters, so I am going to be a little bit biased. Watching him win the belt is just... it's surreal to watch him come out in his next fight in the black and gold shorts. It's just going to be such a trip, man. From watching this guy in Contender Series to winning the belt, just feels like it's all gone by so quick, man. Where has the time gone? Next, we have got Dricus du Plessis and the middleweight division. Now, middleweight has kind of fell off a little bit. It looked promising for a while. Sean Strickland had just won the belt, and he looked like he could have been a bit of a star. He kind of is a little bit of a star. Not a star is the wrong word to use, but he has his audience, and that audience is a large part of MMA fan base. So Sean Strickland has the audience behind him. I'm a big fan of Sean Strickland. You know, I've just made myself into a cliche, I guess, but Dricus looks good, and more importantly, the reason I'm mentioning all of this, and this looks like it's I'm just looking at this green MW and just seeing like the Modern Warfare 2 fucking logo. Hamza is about to potentially win this belt, or if not win basically, let me say this, if Hamza wins the middleweight belt, I think it goes like here, or maybe here. If Hamza loses, it probably goes like here, just because Dricus has beat Adesanya, he's beat Strickland. I guess you have guys like Joe Pyfer coming up, and Roman Kopylov, again one of my favourite fighters, is in the mix. There's a couple of decent guys at middleweight. I tell you what, I'm going to put it at the front of B tier. But like I said, if Dricus wins, I would drop it behind featherweight. But if Hamzat wins, and you have Hamzat Chimaev as the middleweight champ, and he's active, this could be high A tier for a lot of people, man. Hamzat is huge. I don't think some people realise how big of a star Hamzat Chimaev is. In this area of the world. He's huge, he's massive. Next we have Magomed Ankalaev and the light heavyweight division. Obviously Pereira just lost. Pereira's little run of saving cards and short notice fights and just coming in and sleeping Yuri and sleeping Jamal Hill, having the war with Khalil Roundtree. Alex Pereira, we did not deserve that man as a champion. Just some real old school UFC energy coming in with Alex Pereira, but Ankalaev's good. I've never really felt like Ankalaev is a super boring fighter. If the finish is there, sometimes he'll take it. He got obviously DQ'd in the Johnny Walker. Well, it wasn't a DQ actually. It should have been DQ, but it was a no contest because obviously Ankalaev went for like an illegal knee or whatever it was. He does have the killer instinct. A lot of the criticisms about Ankalaev, the things people say, oh, he's a cage wrestler, he's a grappler, he's boring, he's a lay and pray, he's a John Fitch. I'm thinking, have you ever seen the guy fight? Or are you just judging by his fucking facial hair, bro? Because this guy's a striker. He's a well-rounded fighter, but predominantly he's a tricky, technical, one shot at a time, most of the time, striker. And I enjoy watching Magomed Ankalaev. But Alex Pereira losing the belt does bring the value down, and there's just pretty much nobody at light heavyweight anymore. Light heavyweight is so sad, because if I got in shape, like my fighting weight is light heavyweight, and I don't know why I always gravitated towards light heavyweight more for that reason. It was like, if I feel like that's my division, even though I would get slept by a fucking light heavyweight in Bama, but still, my point is that light heavyweight used to mean a lot to me, but these days we're talking high C tier. We're talking C tier, in my opinion. I mean, it's a bit stale. There's nothing going on. Krylov has just lost. I guess if Dominic Reyes gets back up to a title shot, and we have Ankalaev and Dominic Reyes, bro, I will make 400 videos about Dominic Reyes. We'll all be behind Dominic Reyes for that. So Reyes is the potential kind of breakout. Again, not to say star, but he could mix it up. He could make some cool shit happen in this division, man. But for right now, I think C tier. And then the last division is heavyweight. I just want to get one thing clear straight away. I'm not going to bore you to death by talking about the John Jones and Tom Aspinall situation. I think every single take that could be had on that situation has been said. But what I will say is Tom Aspinall, I think, is the best heavyweight of all time. I guess some people are probably watching this video and rolling their eyes thinking, oh yeah, this fucking English guy thinks Tom Aspinall's the GOAT. I think skill for skill, if you're saying Merab is the best bantamweight of all time, and it's not talking achievements, it's talking as in you put any bantamweight from any period of time in with Merab, he beats him. I would say the same thing for heavyweight Tom Aspinall. I think he beats Stipe in his prime. I think he beats DC in his prime. I think he beats Fedor in his prime. I mean, part of me shivers when I say that, because we haven't seen Tom Aspinall's full game, and we could all be very surprised if he gasses in the second round. But I've watched so much of his journey, so much of his media, his press, his interviews, so many of his YouTube videos. I've been following this guy for a long fucking time, you know. A lot of the UK prospects I am quite late on, but somebody like Tom Aspinall and somebody like Paddy Pimblett, I was watching these guys. I remember seeing Tom Aspinall floating around in some of Darren Till's Team Carbon training videos in like 2015 15, 16. So I've been aware of Tom Aspinall for a very, very long time, and I just think he is the best heavyweight to ever exist on this planet Earth. And I'm going to mimic Lucas Tracy here, and I know Lucas Tracy says it's get a rise sometimes, but I think he is the most dangerous man on the planet, and I think he's probably one of the most dangerous men, hand-to-hand, unarmed combat, to ever exist in the fucking history of the human race. Which, to be honest, considering he's such a humble guy, if I was Tom Aspinall, bro, I'd be like, damn, if you put me in there with fucking Achilles unarmed, I'm smoking him, bro. If you put me in there with Mike Tyson unarmed, I'm probably smoking him, shooting a takedown, oblique kick, whatever you want to say. And if you want to say no rules and you can gouge eyes and you can bite and you can fucking fish hook and all this shit, bro, you're gonna get fucking murdered within minutes against somebody like Tom Aspinall. He's too thick. I need to stop saying these fighters are thick. Point is that Tom Aspinall, on top of this heavyweight division, I think is the best heavyweight to ever exist. But the lack of competition, I mean, who is that? You've got Cyril Gane, you have got Gelton Almeida. He's already beat Curtis Blades. He's already beat Sergey Pavlovich, but you could put Pavlovich back in there, but he kind of looked a little bit sloppy in his last couple as well. You've got Derek Lewis. Do you know what I mean? You've got the guy that's coming in and making his debut against Blades. I can't remember his name. I want to say his name's Kuniev, but I think I might be confusing him with someone else. But he's got wins in Eagle FC. Like, people, he's been thrown straight into the fire with Curtis Blades because they're hoping, they're praying that they can get a couple of names in heavyweight to match the kind of hype that Tom Aspinall's getting behind him with this whole John Jones thing. But fuck me, mate. Kuniev is a fucking Eagle FC highlight merchant. Like, I don't think he's going to go 5 rounds in a title fight with Tom, and I don't think he takes some of the shots from Tom. To briefly touch on John Jones is retired, in my opinion. He's gone, he's moved on. He's not really even a heavyweight champ. I mean, you can kind of class him. He fought Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane basically just lost to Ngannou, and just got given a free title shot. John Jones beat him and won the vacant belt, I guess, if you want to call that an accomplishment. You can call it an accomplishment. A lot of people weren't picking John. They were saying Cyril Gane's too big and all this shit, but come on, boys. John Jones, he beat a super washed, the fucking stains have come out of him, Stipe. Cyril Gane, who's never seen a fucking Kazushi Sakuraba fight a day in his life. For that reason, Tom Aspinall is great. Tom Aspinall, big fan of him, one of my top fighters. If I made a top 5 list of my favourite fighters in and outside the cage, Tom Aspinall is probably in the top 2 or 3. But the lack of competition does kind of hurt the division a lot. So I'm gonna go with C tier in front of light heavyweight. Just because there's so many bad heavyweights, bro. There's so many fat fucking shit unranked heavyweights that just, why are you here, bro? How have you been let in the door? The amount of sloppy heavyweight, you see so many just out of shape, terrible heavyweights on the roster, but you don't necessarily see too many of them in Contender Series and stuff. And they aren't doing Ultimate Fighter heavyweight anymore that often. So it's like, how are you guys getting there? How are a lot of these fucking unranked heavyweights getting to the UFC? Like, Andre Petrosky, obviously not a heavyweight. Andre Petrosky was thrown into the UFC at 6-1, and his record now is like 13-4. He's basically had a career in the UFC. These fat heavyweights are turning up at like 5-2, 6-4 and shit, and they're fucking going 2-5 and getting cut. Like, what a waste of everyone's time. So the heavyweight division ultimately suffers for that, in my opinion. But this is the complete tier list. So just to recap, we have D tier, women's bantamweight being the worst division in the sport. Women's flyweight being a close second, in my opinion. Women's strawweight coming 3rd at the bottom of the pile. So I think out of the women's division, strawweight is the best, flyweight is the second best, bantamweight is the worst. Even with Nunes coming back and Kayla Harrison, it is just not enough to bring me back. Sorry, I apologise. And then the worst men's division, in my opinion, is light heavyweight, followed by heavyweight. This may be a little bit harsh. They have got a lot of eyes on. If Jones was fighting Aspinall, I would probably put it like up here or some fucking shit. But Jones is gone, and Aspinall has already beat most of the top 10. I guess we can do Aspinall, Volkov too, but you know, it's just not that entertaining, is it? And then we've got men's flyweight. Do I put Arnold Allen? It's Alexandra Pantoja, Brandon Royval, Joshua Van, Lona Kavanaugh, Jose Ochoa. versus Alexander Volkanovski, Diego Lopez, Lerone Murphy, Arnold Allen, Yair Rodriguez. Do you know what I mean? They're kind of the big names that I'm focusing on either side. There's not really too many featherweight prospects. You do have Nathaniel Wood, but he just can't seem to put things together. Like, I thought he would be fucking fighting for the belt by now, but we're still kind of trying to creep up the rankings. It's a shame. But these two are kind of interchangeable for me, so I'm going to keep featherweight. I'm going to put flyweight in front of featherweight, man, just because Tapori is gone. Lopez, I think, is a bit overrated. Yair Rodriguez, I couldn't give a fuck what Yair Rodriguez is doing. So flyweight goes in front of featherweight for me. Middleweight is kind of the mid weight class out of the men's division. Not really much going on there right now, and especially if Hamzat loses, middleweight probably drops even more. And then A tier, we've got bantamweight and lightweight. These two will always be kind of near the top of the sport for me. I think on the last video I did, I think lightweight may have came S tier, bantamweight may have been S tier, I can't actually remember, but welterweight was definitely not S tier last time. Welterweight has just kind of come out the woodwork as one of the best divisions in the sport right now. I mean, even like Shavkat, Ian Gary, Joaquin Buckley, even the guys that are like ranked 7 and 8, just I'll never miss a fight. So yeah, man, that is my complete tier list. I'm gonna be updating some of these tier lists that I've made in the past and getting them out. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. If you like more content like this, I'm pretty much uploading every day right now, so I will guarantee you at least 2 or 3 videos a week. I'm gonna be predicting every card from now on and maybe covering a little bit of news, but for the most part I do just kind of want to make videos like this, discussion topics, maybe do a little bit of a retrospect on some old fights, old fighters. So yeah, I'm enjoying making content again. I'm happy to be back. My name's Harry, I talk about fights. Boom, there's Tom Aspinall in space.